How you doing? Matt Kopyt here. As you can see, I'm doing things a little bit differently today. I'm not making beef or going to dance practice. That's because, contrary to popular belief, it's not all sunshine and rainbows in the life of Matt Kopyt. So today I wanted to bring in a good friend of mine, really intelligent man, Orrin Webb, to talk about emotional intelligence. Orrin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Right on, man. Matt and I first connected a couple years ago, and I've recently started working on something called Enmocean. And Enmocean is about helping people tap into their emotional intelligence as a skill and really understand their personalities. Everybody has a personality, right? Everybody has emotions, so we can become more intelligent about them. We can make big moves. Matt and I engaged in some conversations a couple of days ago about emotional intelligence, and we started with curiosity. It started with, wanting to know. In my previous vlog, I talked about how many of us have experiences, but we don't have the knowledge to extract the wisdom of our emotions. With that in mind, Enmocean is seeking to bridge that gap, be able to provide the knowledge and the framework and the method in order to really get in touch with your higher self.
So, Orrin, let's dive into a few of the specifics here, because I think this is very valuable for people to understand and kind of be introduced to. How do you think emotional intelligence, how does it apply to an organizational standpoint, dealing with a lot of different individuals in different leadership roles?
Right, so emotions are at the base of almost every human being. Emotional intelligence is necessary in an organization because, one, you get better understanding, better conversations, more insight into people, and I think one of the biggest things, better questions, right? High quality questions, HQQs. With enough HQQs, you can really learn about someone in an intentional way, and I think you can even learn more about yourself in an intentional way. Who wouldn't want more self-knowledge, right?
I love learning about myself,
as
you all know. As you're all probably well aware, my personality type is ESTJ. So that means that I like to extrovert my thoughts. You've seen me in my videos talking about my beef.
So in breaking this down, you got two essential parts of your personality. There's the part that is awake, in that there's all your confidence, your self-esteem, right, is a part of that conscious part of your personality. Right? Then there's the other part where many people don't really explore this space, right? I like to say there's one part of your personality is the comfort zone, and there's another part that is where the discomfort is. With an ESTJ preference, my man Kopyt here.
Yeah, that's me. As
he just said, extroverted thinking is the dominant part of his personality. Doesn't take a lot to learn about what Matt Kopyt thinks about something, right? And also, how he might want to make a decision. If Matt here tends to make decisions via thinking, he tends to be more logic-based, reason, right? Looking at things from a critical standpoint. The other part that supports that part of his personality is sensing, right? A sensing preference tends to be really attuned to the details and the facts of a situation.
All about the facts, baby.
We got extroverted thinking and introverted sensing in the comfortable part of Matt's personality type. It's the second part, the unconscious or the uncomfortable space, where all the gems and the knowledge and the wisdom is hidden. Getting in touch with your hidden self, understanding your darkness, is on the path to reaching your highest self. You can't just be positive throughout all the struggles of your life. You gotta be able to understand what those struggles mean, right? So this hidden self of Matt is where a lot of the juice is from the beef. a lot of the value.
So why don't we unpack, some of the more hidden aspects of my personality that I have now, been enlightened with through Enmocean.
So in the dominant part, we want to look at the inferior, the connecting preference of his personality, and the inferior part of his personality, right? Disclaimer. The hidden parts of your personality don't necessarily mean you don't do these things, right? For instance, Kopyt here extroverts his thinking, but that doesn't mean he's cold and heartless.
Well,
in fact, I think many of his fans think he's a sharp, engaged,
right?
kind man. You know what I'm saying?
Many would disagree as well. But what are you gonna do?
Balanced perspective. We can't miss out on the idea that those hidden parts, they're just underdeveloped. Matt's connecting part of his personality is intuition, the big picture. Matt, when it comes to the big picture and processing, like, what does this mean in the grand scheme of my life? How often is that a part of your day in and day out experience?
Never, absolutely never.
So knowing that Matt here does not necessarily do that often. It might be an undeveloped part of him. With that in mind, we then get to the inferior part. Matt, what did you discover through the Wave 2 analysis as the inferior part of your personality?
Great question, Orrin. I discovered that, that underdeveloped part of my personality is actually my introverted feeling. I've noticed that come up in my life a few times, especially in the last few months with a lot of the things I've been going through, and I've felt myself kind of start to internalize a lot of those things. It puts me into a point of stress that I never necessarily understood or was able to describe to anyone until Orrin put me through this program and allowed me to come to terms with a lot of these things. So
right on. We've been saying a lot, talking about my man.
Yeah. I mean, it's what I do best.
Right. Here's an interesting question as a viewer you should ask yourself. What wisdom lies within that hidden part of your personality? If you're mastering that underdeveloped part of yourself, you can get out of your own way, right? What I'm really getting at here is we got to be able to be more aware of how we prefer to be. So what's been the biggest takeaway for you having been exposed to Wave 2 of Enmocean? Let's think about pre-Enmocean session and post-Enmocean session, Matt.
Sure. Pre-Enmocean session, Matt. Very extroverted, outgoing, and that part of me hasn't necessarily changed. A lot of what I used to do was just internalize my feelings, and especially when I feel stressed out, I wasn't necessarily talking about those aspects of, what was going through my mind, things like that. And I didn't necessarily understand why either. Now, I've noticed myself picking up on these cues almost immediately and being able to recognize that that's just because of my personality, the way I'm programmed emotionally. And now I can understand what's happening to me and what I'm feeling, and then help myself get out of that stressful feeling.
Is that exciting for you?
I tell you what, Orrin, I mean, you saw my reactions while we were talking. This is life-changing stuff, like honestly.
Unreal.
It's unreal.
One of the key things is we lack a common language.
That's what it is.
I mean, we all know we have emotions. Like, don't kid yourself, right? You were telling me you were holding your emotions within, but you process that as, that hidden part of myself is introverted feeling. So I recognize that it takes a lot of buzzword here, willpower, for me to delve into that side. Therefore, I don't necessarily do it unless there's some sort of traumatic moment that happens, right? Remember how I said stress makes you stupid? When you get stressed out, the inferior part of your personality flips with your dominant part. So if you have a partner or a friend, a colleague, a leader who's very stressed out, you're like, why are they acting that way? Probably because they're in the grip. When they're in the grip, they're acting almost inverse of their normal self and totally messing up in a multitude of ways. In a short snippet, he now has the tools, y'all.
I got the tools. Be ready, man. Oh, this is dangerous.
He has the tools to be able to get in motion with his highest self. That's what it's about. We got to get in motion.
Alright, go ahead and click on me to subscribe. Go ahead and click on Orrin to subscribe to his channel and keep up with Enmocean and his journey through that. Also check out Orrin's first video that he's created right here. I'm going to link that for you, nice and convenient.
Yeah, baby.
Bam! Alright, bam.